Ollie here, and I welcome you, NomadX community, Facebook family, everyone who's out there and watching. I'm stoked to be back on another live stream, and I'm gonna have a super special guest today. His name is Chris Reynolds, and he is the guy when it comes to get shit done. What that means in detail, I want to make sure he explains that to you guys anyway, way better than I do. So first things first, let me try to get him on the cam. As we know, this is mostly like the most tricky part of the whole interview, and then we legend when it comes to product that works. It says adding on my screen, so I cross my fingers. This one should be good. There we go. We got you, man. Hello, Chris.
Hello, hello, hello. What's up,
I'm
Ollie?
super stoked to have you on the show, man. Amazing, amazing. Um, all the best to Chiang Mai. We're actually not that far from each other, right? Chris is in Chiang Mai at the moment. I'm sitting in Bali, and I can't be any happier, bro, to have you on that show, to have you on that stream. We got a lot of people dropping in right now. So, guys, before I stop speaking, the only thing I want to say, and I give the word directly to Chris, make sure to show some love. Drop me a like, drop me a heart, and leave a lot of comments. Ask questions. And now we got him here, the one and only Chris Reynolds, the legend when it comes to get shit done. Chris, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about your story and what you actually do for a living?
First, thanks for having me, Ollie. I'm really excited to be here and want to make a great interview. My name's Chris Reynolds, and I'm a high performance coach. We have a podcast called the Business Method Podcast, where we interview high performers and successful entrepreneurs, and we get into their mindset about success, business, how to be productive, how to be focused, and how to get shit done. So we started the podcast by interviewing 100 six-figure entrepreneurs in 100 days. And that was to kind of show that, we could we could do 100 podcasts in 100 days, and we can mix these methods and techniques that we talk about for productivity and focus in with our podcast. And then we enjoyed it so much, and I interviewed 100 seven-figure location independent entrepreneurs. And now we're interviewing 100 major influencers, so people that have a significant amount of influence in business or the world or over economies and stuff like that. So that's the gist of it. I have an event we do annually in Thailand called Get Shit Done Live, where it's a 10-day event where we help people scale their business to the next level, focusing on using productivity methods and focus tactics to help people get a lot of shit done in a little amount of time.
That's incredible, man. I'm simply blown away. Yeah, what an intro, man. Like I said, I can't say it again, but it is absolutely the truth. I'm super stoked to have you on here, and I know that's going to be an amazing talk. What you do is simply incredible. The whole story with the podcast, I'm absolutely loving it. I always had that thing in my head, or I have it since a long time, that I want to do a podcast, but I don't get shit done. Like that's the problem. That's why I still don't have one. I know how much work it is. Actually, even enjoying this live interviews and bringing all these people on, but I know it's a lot of work. It's a massive, massive achievement what you did with the podcast, but you know what? I want to dive a little bit more into the whole business method and the Get Shit Done event, which will happen in a few days, in a few weeks, at the end of that month.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to happen in Chiang Mai. So I saw the landing page. I had kind of like an idea what this is all about, but when I saw it, I was like, motherfucker, I need to go there. That sounds incredible. So tell us a little bit more about that event, because literally what you say, people are getting 6 months of work done in 10 days. Is that right?
Yeah, and those aren't my words. Those are from people that have attended the event. So no false premise there. But I used to run a business called the Entrepreneur House, and it was basically month-long co-living business accelerators and retreats around the world. And those were really great. But the thing was, it was just such a long time to run. It was a month at a time. And so I thought to myself, like, how can I restructure this to get just as much impact for the people that are attending and help them really grow their businesses? So we took all the productivity stuff that we learned out of the Entrepreneur House experiences. I think maybe we had 10 of them or so. And we took all the productivity stuff out of it, put it into courses, put it into this event called Get Shit Done Live. And now, and people used to come for a month, and get 6 months work done. Now they're coming for 10 days and getting 6 months work done. And during that time, the reason why it works so well is because normally day to day, and I'm sure you can attest for this, but normally day to day, like we're just so busy and we're scattered. Even if we're in our office and we're very focused, or we're in our cubicle or our home and we're just working away, something can come up. Your spouse can send you a message that can send you off track, and distract you, and then you have to go take care of something else, or you got to pay a bill, or something pops up on the computer and it just completely distracts you. What happens at Get Shit Done Live is that it's 10 days and we set goals, and each person is part of a small group, and you tell the group what your goal is. And it's to really move the needle in your business from one level to the next. Really those big juicy goals that you want to finish by the end of the year. And it could be launching a new product, it could be growing your email list, it could be setting up a Facebook ads campaign, the list, writing a book, the list goes on and on. And what happens during that time, because you have an accountability group that's at the level that you're at, just by having those people around you as support, then you really feel subconsciously like you just want to be incredibly focused to achieve that by your next check-in. So we have 2 check-ins per day, one in the morning and one in the evening before dinner. And then you just tell your group what you're going to do, and they give you feedback and tips and tactics. And so then everybody says their goal, and then afterwards they go to work. They go work for 6 or 7 hours, and then they check in again. And what's really great is because you have a group like this, you have entrepreneurs for all around the world. And like if you were there, Ollie, maybe you're good at SEO and another good guy's really good at Facebook ads. Mm-hmm. Then you can combine, like if you have a Facebook ad goal and I have an SEO goal, we can combine our minds and get thousands of dollars of consulting just there, just by being at the same event with somebody. So it really scales people's focus. It really scales their business. And we've had people literally start Facebook ads that lead to $170,000 in sales. Wow. We had another woman release a course last year that led to $40,000 in sales. Wow. One guy at the event a couple years ago closed $12,000 in sales from an SEO course he let out. Another guy set himself up for $50,000, and it was like half the year of income just by the stuff that he took care of to get shit done. And it's really great because even if people aren't at that level, even if they're at a more basic level, trying to bootstrap and start a new project up or a new business up, they still get a significant leap in their growth because of that environment and how focused it is.
Wow. Oh, bro, that sounds simply amazing. I was checking my calendar before. I said, unfortunately, I'm probably not going to make it because I'm just coming back from, or I'm just going to Lisbon when you guys finishing up. But it sounds incredible. Bro, what I want to know, okay, you put that event together, and everyone gets like massive results, and you are obviously the expert when it comes to get shit done and being highly productive and everything. How did that all started for you? How does it happen that someone like you comes up with all that stuff and then put that together in an event? I'd like to have a bit more of the background.
Yeah, I think it just came over time of like personal growth and managing my own behavior and trying to learn about my own subconscious beliefs and behavior. I got into like personal growth in 2006. So I've been in it for like 13 years, and that's what helped me to launch my first business. But during that time, I was always trying to dissect, like, how could I be more effective? I'm actually releasing a course here coming out pretty soon, how to double your productivity in 2 weeks. And it all started from like 10 years ago. I had a mentor And he said, Chris, what I want you to do for the next 2 weeks is write down what you do every 20 minutes for 2 weeks, every little thing that you do. And so I got a notepad and a piece of paper and I did it. And what I realized when I first did this, I was wasting about 3 hours a day. And it was just useless stuff. And it makes you incredibly self-aware of the behaviors of what you're doing and you don't even realize. And so we've created that into a course. We'll be launching it here actually in a few weeks during Get Shit Done. But doing exercises like that, it really helps you understand like your behavior and where you can just shift one or two things, and it adds a really big impact. The other thing is that, like, just over the years, I've listened to podcasts, watched books, or read books, listened to YouTube videos, but hanging out with other awesome entrepreneurs, like, just gathered a lot of tips. And so then when we started the Entrepreneur House, we started doing these, living with I started living with entrepreneurs and then picking up their day-to-day productivity hacks, what they were doing. Maybe it was intermittent fasting. Maybe it was, a vegan diet. Maybe it was working out first thing as soon as they woke up. Maybe it was meditation. And I just started to gather all that information to create what we have now, is Get Shit Done Live and the business method. And it's really just accumulation of study over the past 13 years of things that work and don't work. And it's a continual process. I tell everybody, I'm not perfect in my productivity or my focus. Some days are absolutely shit, and it's just like, what the hell? But the more you learn about this stuff, the more tools you'll have in your toolbox. Like, for example, I'm learning a lot about breathing techniques to help me get into flow states. So when I'm working and I feel really stressed out, I can do some simple breathing techniques that take 2 or 3 minutes, and all of a sudden I'm back to that flow state really rapidly. That doesn't take a lot of energy, and it's not a lot of time.
Right. That's amazing, man. So it's years and years of knowledge you put together, and which then kind of ended up in that incredible event. You can see every now and then I switch, and that's not because I don't want to look at you. I'm always checking the comments. These guys are already asking what is the link to the podcast, but the good thing is they're helping each other. Someone already dropped it. Guys, we have a lot of people going in and out of that stream right now. If you have questions for Chris, okay, this is the moment where you can ask. Chris is more than willing to answer all your questions if it comes to productivity, entrepreneurship, online businesses, whatever you want to know. We will make sure everything gets answered. So guys, be as active as possible. Drop some comments and we drop some value bombs back. Cool, man. Coming back to the topic, the whole productivity, entrepreneurship, is it something you see these days that especially the next upcoming generation, a lot of young entrepreneurs are coming into a massive wave? Is this something a lot of people struggle these days because of the whole online revolution and we get so easy distracted? What's your opinion on that? How is that looking at the moment? You're looking at the whole change.
Yeah, the great thing about technology is is that we know more and we have access to more things than we ever have before, but we also have a lot more distractions than we did before, And even somebody that lives in the countryside, for example, they still have their phone, the internet, they could be distracted very easily. So yeah, I think it's more and more of a challenge for society with all the distractions that you have. So, for example, right now, I was just reading on a study that was done by the University of Texas, where they were talking about that your brain's cognitive ability literally reduces just by having your phone within 3 feet of you. So if your phone is on within 3 feet of you, it doesn't matter if it's in a drawer or in a bag or a purse or something, your brain, the ability for your brain to focus is reduced. And so what they've been doing with tests is actually shutting your phone off and putting it in another room. So the past couple of months I've been trying this out. And it's at first it's a little scary because we don't shut our phones off ever.
Right.
Unless they die.
Oh yeah.
The battery dies. Yeah. And it's like, what if so and so sends me a message? Oh, but I have Facebook Messenger and it can come up on my computer. What if it's a WhatsApp though? Oh, but I'm sure they're not going to die in the next 2 hours if I don't reply to their message. So literally, like your whole physiology and psychology, your brain functioning will change if you turn off that phone, especially like in the morning time when you, or anytime you want to do deep focus work, turn it off and then hide it in another room. And then your brain is able to fully focus on whatever you're giving your attention to. Right. On top of that, though, the mere presence of our phone reduces the amount of social engagement that we have, live social engagement, and then also our ability to converse. And so our phones are literally draining our brain of the ability to fully perform. And I think most of us really have an unhealthy relationship with our phones because we spend 24 hours pretty much, other than when we're sleeping, but most waking hours with our phones connected to us. Just imagine if you had a girlfriend or boyfriend, husband or wife that you spent every waking hour next to. It'd drive you crazy. Or a pet. Like if you spent every waking hour next to, or a parent or a child or anything like that, business partner, it would drive you absolutely nuts. But we do that with our phones. And so I think one thing that can cause either that uses just a little bit amount of energy but has a major effect on our mental health is turning our phones off and taking time away from it. And I challenge anybody to do that during work, but even do that during social time. If you go out and meet with friends, you actually feel a little bit better that you don't have your phone, because it's not like I don't have anything to be distracted about except, just hanging out with this person.
You hit some pain points, man. I know. I feel super guilty right now hearing you talking because I know, and I'm reading a lot, and I'm going also, like into these topics. Not that long ago, a few months ago, I read the book Deep Work. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with that book, which was a game changer for me. But I think, yes, bro, you're absolutely right. But as I'm so much into social media marketing, I'm guilty as well. I'm constantly on it, and you get that feeling, like you get a message, and if this message isn't answered in the next 5 minutes, you already feel like I'm running behind and late and stuff like that. So right. It is a real struggle, and I struggle with that as well. A few months ago, I did kind of like a 3 months complete detox, which was also like a detox from, like not completely from social media, but I really set myself times in the morning, like no phone the first 2 hours, no phone before I go to bed for the last 2 hours, and probably was a game changer. I didn't even it was a game changer. I also, be very honest, I found myself then going back into old habits quite quick, because if you're not really strict to it, right? But what you're saying is so spot on, and I couldn't agree more. Let me just quickly check. We have Svetlana. She has a question. She says, do you have any recommendations on social media scheduling apps or other apps that can save time?
Yes. First, for your phone, there's the Screen Time app, which is on Apple, actually. And I think for Android users, there's Rescue Time, which is very similar. Screen Time app is under the settings. It's on all iPhones already. And you can just check it out. And Screen Time actually monitors the amount of time you pick up your phone, the amount of time you're using the phone, the amount of time you're using each app, the amount of time you're using social apps versus work apps, what they categorize as work apps, and this sort of thing. So it's really valuable. The biggest thing that I think Screen Time can do, and I believe Rescue Time can do this too, but Screen Time can shut down all your apps from certain times. So my phone shuts off at midnight, and it does not turn back on until 12:30 in the morning. Wow. And it's really great. It's so amazing. If you guys are waking up with your phone and checking messages, or going to bed with your phone and checking messages, stop, because that's one of the worst things that you can do. And it's for mental health, absolutely. So highly recommend checking out Screen Time or Rescue Time for Android. And I love waking up and not having anything on my phone. I don't get any messages until 10:30 in the morning, and it's just really nice. So that's a great one. There's another one for your computer. I think it's called Focus. Let me look really quick. I have it here. That can actually, what it can do is actually shut down your computer at Focus app, yeah, it can blank out your computer at a certain time. So like 10:30,
Yeah.
10:30 p.m., or 7 p.m. you want to quit work. You just set it up so it shuts off at the right time.
Right.
And and so that's a great app also. Yeah.
So you kind of like have to trick yourself a little bit, right? You have to go and
Yeah.
put in some features like an app and stuff like that, like, or yeah, something which shuts the whole thing down to get kind of like under control. And I think that's a massive, massive value bomb. So guys, if you got a chance, stick to it. I'm guilty as well. I'm horrible with it, but I really want to go back into these habits because I made the experience and it was a game changer. We got another question
Yeah.
coming from Derek, and I really, really like that question. It's a bit off topic, but it kind of like takes the edge off, and I'm interested about your answer. He says, "Hey Chris, have you maintained your ice bath activities? Can you tell me why you feel it's so helpful? Should I do it as well?" Or so you're taking ice baths? Let's talk about
When I
ice
can,
baths, man. Let's talk about that. That's cool. That's cool. That's shifting the gears and going
yeah,
direction ice baths. I love that because I wanted to talk anyway a little bit more about your personal stuff and what you do. Like besides of
yeah,
helping others. So ice baths probably is the thing. Tell us more about that.
yeah. I love ice baths. I think they're absolutely amazing. I do cold showers quite often, almost one a day. I usually do a
Mm-hmm.
cold shower before bed.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps me sleep. If you have, like, I have restless leg syndrome, and so cold therapy and cold showers is good for that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's new studies coming out all the time talking about ice baths and the benefits from it. There's some potential dangers as a caveat there, so disclaimer there. So do your research, and I highly recommend if you want to do ice baths to do them and search the Wim Hof method.
Yep.
And I think they're the most advanced methods that are out there when it comes to doing cold therapy and ice baths. And they really are serious about making sure people do this the correct way because there are some potential dangers to it. But the most important thing, like if you do want to try some ice baths out there, Google some stuff about Wim Hof and the methods on how they do that, and do it slow, because if you do it too fast, it can really have some negative repercussions. I love them. I think ice baths are great. They absolutely skyrocket like the positive neurochemicals in your body, releases some adrenaline. You feel very powerful after an ice bath. Your sex drive goes through the roof, which is a good benefit if you do it with your partner. And
Wow.
it's
Didn't know
it's a
that.
lot of fun.
That's
Yes,
interesting.
and
That's
yeah,
interesting.
they
I would
burn.
expect the opposite.
When you get in, it does sink, right? But then afterwards, it goes
Okay.
to the roof.
Cool.
And it's quite fun to do. If you actually can burn, I think 5-minute ice baths can burn 800 calories.
Wow.
So I don't know if there's any other exercise you can burn
Yeah.
800 calories that fast. But you have to start off like really slow. Start off by doing 90-second ice bath. Start off by doing cold showers, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And the list is incredibly huge for the benefits of people that have illnesses or disorders, on how cold therapy can really help and heal them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know all of them, but it's just like so many different things that it can really help. But again, as a disclaimer, like, do your research before you can
Right.
take a cold shower anytime. They're really healthy. But do your research about the Wim Hof method before you start taking ice baths, so you understand what to do.
Amazing, bro. If you like, I think that's a very interesting topic, and I think a lot of people are interested in that. If you have probably any valuable links afterwards, like to the Wim Hof method or so, if you just can drop them in the comments, this would be amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. Besides the ice baths, what else? What else are you doing to relax, to calm down? Like, how do you like to spend your spare time? Let's go a little bit more behind the scenes with Chris Reynolds. What else makes you really excited these days?
I like to meditate every day, at least once a day.
Mm-hmm.
And for the past 3 months, I've been meditating an hour a day every morning.
Okay.
And that's been great. I've really enjoyed that. Before that, for the previous 4 years or so, I have been meditating about 15 to 20 minutes a day. I like the 6-phase meditation by Vishen Lakhiani from Mind Valley. It's a really great meditation. It's a mix between visualization and meditation. Now what I'm doing is after I do my meditation, I do 100 burpees in 10 minutes, which is a great 10-minute workout. If anybody is traveling, that is an amazing hotel room workout. So you can search on YouTube 100 burpees in 10 minutes countdown.
Yeah.
And then it's like this, there's people on there that just kind of walk you through it. And even if you do, 50 in 10 minutes, it's still amazing, and it really pushes your cardio. It pushes, it's a full body workout, and you feel like you've just done a 40-minute workout in 10 minutes. So it's really intense. I recommend it.
Wow.
I do some Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai when I have locations to do that at. And free time, I just like hanging out with friends and going to social events and going to Nomad X events when I'm in Lisbon.
Good.
And
that's what we want to hear.
And podcasting, yeah.
And podcasting. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You kind of like got me, but I'm still stuck at the 100 burpees in 10 minutes. That's incredible, man. Because I like to do like when not as often as I should, but when I go to CrossFit or Mekong, and we do a lot of burpees, so I know exactly what you're talking about. 100 burpees in 10 minutes is shit loads. Respect for this. Amazing. Cool, man. After that, I want to go a little bit more, like going back a little bit more about the digital nomad topic, and maybe also doing a little bit of the forecast with you. But we have one more question I would like to have answered, and I think it's a really good one. It comes from Svetlana, and she says, "Hey, Chris, can you tell us need to say it right. Can you tell us about your biggest aha moment?" And I think that's a really good one. The biggest aha moment. I love this question. I need to write that down for a future interview guest. What was your biggest one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Well, there's definitely been more than one, but the first one that was really incredibly profound for me, I think, was a couple. One was when I decided to go to grad school. Like, I never was really a great student, but what I learned through college, if I just put into work, then I could succeed. And I was just driving down the road one day and I thought, I'm going to go to graduate school. And for me, I was like, let's just try it, see what happens. What can I lose? And I did, and I went to grad school and carried a higher grade point average than I did through high school or through regular college, university or anything. And that was just like a huge confidence leap, actually, for me. The other one was I took a seminar back in 2006 called Psi Seminars, Psi Basic. And basically, it's psychotherapy. Like, it's 4 days of intense psychotherapy, similar to maybe like Landmark, if you guys have heard of Landmark, Landmark Forum and this type of stuff. Yeah, similar to like Tony Robbins stuff, maybe Mind Valley stuff. And they just, it felt like they took my emotions out, jiggled them up as much as possible, fixed a bunch of them and threw them back in me.
Wow.
And the biggest aha I had is, like, they did this exercise talking about what is giving and what is taking to you personally, and then what is love, and then like how can you be loved. And I just kind of realized.
No, we lost you for a second, Chris. Now we got some audio problems. I can't hear you. No worries. So let's ask the audience. Guys, can you hear me? If you can hear me, a thumbs up. Can you hear Chris? Oh. We kind of we lost your audio, Chris. Is that your headphones? Maybe if you try without headphones. Now we lost him. But I'm sure he's coming back. Oh, no worries. That's the beauty about live streams, right? That's what happens every now and then. But that's why we're doing lives, right? So Derek says yes, Ollie. No, Chris. So I make this running game more complete for you guys, and I just entertain you a little bit. That's okay. Wasn't it that amazing? So many value bombs. So we're definitely not going to stop that live stream. We are just waiting till Chris hops back on, and maybe going to try to bring him back on camera. And it seems like we can't get him back. Let me try it this way. Okay, maybe that works. We're not giving up. Consistency is the key, my friends. That's what it's all about. And do we get you back? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. We got you back.
Okay.
Perfect. Oh, that's
Sorry.
nice. Oh, no problem at all. I think I was gone for a second as well when I tried to get you back. But that's the beauty. That's why we do live streams, right? It's real. It's real, and we're just like we're just making it happen. That's kind of like I love it. Like life is life, and sometimes something goes wrong. No worries. As I said before, consistency is the key. We just try till we have it. And here we are back again. And you were dropping some massive value bombs, talking about your aha moments, right?
Oh yeah.
You want to finish that? You want to finish that up?
Yeah, I think what I realized during that exercise, because what they asked, just to make sure you guys heard it, but they asked, they really kind of dug deep into our emotions and asked us, what is giving, what is taking, what is love, and how can you be loved? And I realized at that time, like everything that I was doing was really to kind of to support my parents. And I didn't know that beforehand. Like I wanted to go to college, university. I wanted to go to grad school so I could get a good job and in some way support my parents. And there was both pros and cons to that. But when we rip through these emotions and that psychology, like it's a massive breakthrough, and it's kind of like a 2x4, like upside the head on realizing like why I'm doing what I'm doing and everything that I'm doing. And like I just started like crying and bawling for 10 minutes or whatever. And then afterwards I felt so damn good. Like it felt so nice. And
right.
Long story short, I ended up taking that same class about 10 more times, either as a volunteer or as a re-audit, because it was so powerful. Yeah.
That's amazing. Cool, man. Thanks for sharing. Amazing. That's super cool. Svetlana also asked, what was my aha moment? I'm not going into that right now, Svetlana, because this one is not about me. This one is about Chris. And it will take ages because once I start to talk, I usually don't stop, right? And we're going to be here at 2 more hours. But Svetlana, I promise you, I will answer your questions afterwards in the comments for sure. So, Chris, so many insights, so many value bombs. That is really, really interesting. It's very inspiring to talk to you. Towards the end, as I said before, I would love to go a bit more back to the digital nomad life. If I got it right from your bio, you started to travel in 2011, right? And kind of like took that whole thing remote, and that's a while ago. So how is that for you? Like how is the digital nomad life for you? Where have you been? What are your favorite spots? What were you different? Just a very rough overview about the digital nomad, Chris.
Yeah, I left the U.S. in April 27th, 2011. It's like my second birthday. And moved to Costa Rica. I spent a year there while starting to build business up online. Then moved to Peru, then went back to the U.S. for a bit, then moved to Spain, and then came back to the U.S., then moved back to Spain, then went to Madrid and Barcelona and Costa del Sol and the south and Sevilla. Then traveled, lived in Italy, traveled all throughout Europe, and then also Brazil. Spent about a year collectively at different times in Rio de Janeiro, and then of course in Thailand. And Yeah, it's amazing. Now my girlfriend and I, we're more slow mad, so we like to
Yeah.
do 3, 4, 5 months in a place and do 3, 4, 5 months in another place. And we
Mhm.
have the past 3 years we've had a regular migration. So we did like January, February, March in Rio de Janeiro, and then we spent like an extended summer in Europe, so like
Mhm.
5 months. So we just left Lisbon. Before Lisbon, the year before, we were in Tuscany, Italy. And the year before that, we were in Barcelona. And then we like to spend October, November time in Thailand because we do our event here. And there's a lot of entrepreneurs and nomads down here during that time. And then usually December is back home in the U.S. for Christmas. And then we go back to
Right.
Brazil and do the route all over again.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's
Love
amazing.
it.
I mean, having the ability to have location independence is one of the most powerful currencies that you can have, and it's revolutionizing the way we live and work for sure.
That's a statement, man. Did you just say uh, being local and independent is one of the most powerful currencies you can have? That's
Yeah,
that's a
absolutely.
that's a that's a beautiful way to put it. I've never heard anyone saying it like that. Damn, I'm probably gonna steal that from you. That's perfect. Wow, really, really, really cool. That's so cool, and I love the fact, as Svetlana said as well, slow traveling. Myself, on me and fiance Lisa, we travel really slow, and I feel like as older as you become, it gets even slower, because you want to get mostly you want to get more into the culture, like, and you want to take your time and explore. And I also strongly believe it's almost impossible to put up successful businesses if you are doing 3 countries in 2 weeks,
Mhm.
like, and just like hopping around. So slow travel
Yeah,
part definitely is something which resonates with a lot of us, and something what we believe with Nomadics very strongly in it, that you have to slow travel. That's amazing. What's going to be next, Chris? So you're gonna do that turnaround. So after Thailand, now back to the US and then Brazil, and doing that again, the same circle again, or what
uh,
is it? Anything exciting coming along the way? Not that that would be exciting, but maybe something different.
yeah, we're thinking about going to Austin, Texas for some time in 2020,
Hmm. Hmm.
because Austin is like the new Silicon Valley, and there's so many entrepreneurs that are there these days, and people
Yeah.
just keep raving about it. And there's a couple entrepreneur groups that I'm a part of, and a lot of them live in Austin.
Okay.
And I'd like my parents are getting a bit older, so I'd like to spend more time going to see them throughout the year. So Austin's just an hour flight from where I grew up, and
Mm-hmm.
so we may be in the U.S. for a significant amount of 2020.
Okay. Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Back to Lisbon. Any plans to go back to Lisbon
Uh,
again, or is that
Someday, yeah, but not
someday?
nothing on the books.
Nothing.
But we don't
Nothing on
even
the
know
books.
where we're going to be in We don't even know where we're going to be in January yet. So
That's
that's
yeah.
not too. That's normal for us.
That's my most favorite answer. We don't know, right? That's the beauty about the lifestyle.
Yeah,
Just go with the flow. We
yeah,
don't know exactly. That's perfect. That's amazing, Chris.
yeah.
That was so cool to talk to you, and I want to make sure we're not taking up too much time, because I know you're a super busy man. We got more questions dropping in. I think what we're gonna do, we're just making sure that they're gonna get answered later on in the comments. I will come like. I like to come kind of like to the second last question. I got one more then at the end, but
Okay.
let's go a little bit into the digital revolution. That's how I like to call it.
Mm.
We had it a little bit before. There is a massive wave coming up from digital nomads, online entrepreneurs. You are obviously one of the pioneers. You're doing it since quite a long time. Like, what's going to be next? Because we have so many people, and that's especially in the community, with so many people, they are considering to doing it, and there is so much going on at the moment. Where do you see where do you see the future for that?
Good question. I think it's just going to continue to get more popular and more popular uh, with digital nomads. It's still, in our world, it seems like everybody's doing it, but if you go back to the real world, it's still very rare. You know, I don't
Yeah,
know what the numbers are for how many digital nomads there. They fluctuate every day, really. But it's still very rare for people in a lot of places, even in America, to understand the concept of working online and traveling the world,
yeah,
or taking your computer and living in a different city and working online. But it's getting bigger and bigger. You know, you have companies like WeWork that are hosting coworkers, traveling coworkers all over the world, and you can sign up for a membership and just go in every city, which is really cool. Eventually, maybe it'll be like, you know, in Europe, it's common to take a like a leap year, a gap year, and
yeah,
just go travel, or like a gap summer and go travel to different countries. You know, the Aborigines in Australia, I think, used to go on walkabouts, and maybe this will be the next walkabout. Or people after university will take a
right,
year or two or three to work online and
right.
just travel in different cities. And it's great because it's really helping open up people to different cultures, to ways of living that we never could before. And but also a new culture is being formed out of it. You know, Ollie, that there's very much a digital nomad culture, and even some subcultures amongst the digital nomad culture, right? And sometimes even if we're in Thailand or Lisbon, we congregate together and we try to hang out with each other, and we sort of do things, and we create new events and new rituals and new ceremonies and new parties and new festivals and festivities. So we have this whole culture growing amongst digital nomads that is really becoming a part of us, and people now have like their annual migration to Thailand or their annual migration to Lisbon. You know, people love spending the summers in Lisbon, you know, and it's just a great place to spend. And so I think it's going to grow. Like there's nothing that's stopping us. Um, and uh, and I hope there's a lot more countries that open up their laws and their tax laws to digital
Oh
nomads, so that
yeah,
we can
yeah.
we can we don't
Open
have
up the
to
border.
yeah open up the
Yeah.
borders. Yeah,
Yeah,
digital nomad
exactly.
visa. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's a very interesting point. Like a week or 2 weeks ago, we had Hannah Dixon on that stream, and me and her we were discussing that a lot. And a lot of people I'm talking at the moment, that's kind of like, like, yeah, let's make it. It's already accessible to most people, but yeah, let's opening up. Make sure we got like a visa which counts all over the world, like bank accounts are no problem anymore, like insurances, taxes, like just opening up. And I think that's going to happen. That's going to happen for sure. I think it's developing really, really fast. I believe we're still in an early stage, but what you said is 100% right, in my opinion. That's gonna grow. It's gonna grow
Yeah.
massively. So yeah, the next generation might have it even easier than we having it, because many things were probably more, like the assets were more prepared. But I think it's our job to make sure that it's going to be better for them than it is for us. And for us, even right now, it's like, I mean, it's living the dream, right? That it's even possible to do
Mm-hmm.
all this and travel and work online. So it's a beautiful thing, man. Absolutely. Chris, that was
Yeah.
that was so cool. I can't say it enough. You're definitely an inspiration, not just for
Thank
me.
you.
I know for many other people out there. You have a massive following. I would like to end that here with one last question. I ask that everyone. It's a cheesy one, and everyone does it, but I like to ask it because this community still has a lot of people who are kind of like not sure if they should do it. Like they're kind of like getting a taste of the digital nomad life. Sometimes they're not really sure what business could I start. Should I really do it? Is it safe? Is it not safe? There is no right or wrong, obviously, but what is your very short, straightforward, what is your main advice to someone who is kind of like on the edge to do it, but is kind of like, I don't know?
Just book a ticket and go, because
Fuck yeah.
you can always book a ticket and come home or go home or
Yeah.
wherever you want to go.
Yeah.
And you'll at the end of our life, like we have just we think about the things that we really didn't get to do that we really wanted to do. And life is meant to be enjoyed. I really think if you have that inner feeling that you want to do something like this, there's a reason that you have it. And now, you know, people 50 years ago, even 30 years ago, really couldn't do stuff like this unless they had a good amount of money. And so do it because you've got to take advantage of it. It's the easiest time in the world to do it. Just book the ticket, and once you book the ticket, everything will start to fall in place. I guarantee it.
What a beautiful statement to end this session. I think I couldn't say it any better. Guys, if you're not sure, do it. Just go for it. As Chris said, book a ticket. And
Book a ticket.
let's see each other somewhere around the world. Chris, thank you very, very much for being on the show. Thank you very much for being in the group. Thank you very much for bringing all this value to the community and share your insights and also a lot of personal stuff with us. I highly, highly appreciate. And I hope we're going to see each other very soon somewhere around
Yes,
the
I hope
world.
so.
Definitely.
I hope so.
I wish you all the best with your event. Guys, before I forget, Chris obviously is going to drop the link to the event in the comments. And there is a discount code, which is Nomad X, if you are interested to join that massive event and you want to get it for a little bit cheaper than usual. Use the discount code Nomad X, highly exclusive for this community. And yeah, man, I hope we see each other very, very soon. Good luck with everything.
Thank you for having me, Ollie. I appreciate it, buddy.
It was a pleasure. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Ciao.